Hey, welcome back, my amazing students. So glad that you guys are back. For some of you that are brand new, remember that this is a playlist. So you need to go back to the last lecture if you haven't watched it, because we do some refactoring on the last lecture that are super important for you guys to understand, all right? So anyway, to go back to the last lecture, of course, you probably are in the playlist and you can just go back to the last lecture. But if not, if you're not in the playlist, the link is on the description of this video. Click on the playlist link and it should take you to the playlist, and then watch this one, watch the one before, which should be number 6, I believe, or number 7. I'm not sure. But anyway, so on this lecture, we are going to be learning about forms, input fields, how to submit forms and all that. It's going to be really awesome. So we already have the window. We already have this here. Watch. Let me show you what we got so far. We got this window here. I'm going to show you how I got that and what codes I took off. So you can see that all I got right here is basically the application. I'm loading the style sheet that we're not doing anything right now with it. I got a main window. We're showing the window and we're executing the event loop, right? That's all I got here. I got this methods here that I'm initializing in the init method. Right? We're initializing these methods. That's what the refactory we did on the last lecture, all right? Okay, so that's all we're doing here. Now let's go ahead and start creating the form. So I already told you that there is another layout called QVBots layout, but there is also a QForm layout. So let's do that, QForm layout. You can see that there. And you can put widgets inside other widgets. So you can do nesting here, okay? You can do anything in PySits. PySize, okay? So let's go ahead and do the form layout here. So let's do self, and then let's create this attribute called form layout. And then we're gonna access this class. Boom. Now let's create some input fields. So let's do the attributes. Let's do name input here. And let's also take this line, Q line. Let's go ahead and also get this out. So Q line edit, okay? That will give me the input field. All right, and let's do the same thing for the next button. Let me make this a little bigger so you guys can see it. Guys, this is really exciting, right? Creating desktop applications. I hope you guys are as excited as me to teach you this stuff. I'm teaching you this stuff and I'm super excited because I know some of you would take a lot of advantage of this and create really awesome applications for the world, all right? I'm building here an army of you guys, and you guys got to make me proud and learn all this stuff, all right? So we're going to grab the layout here, right? And we're going to add a row. Watch this. A row. Boom. All right. And this row is just going to say full name. And we're going to see this in a minute, how it looks, so that way you guys are aware of it. We're going to pass in this label here for that row. And we're going to see, we're going to pass in the name input. All right. All right. Once we do that, okay, this is an input field. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and create the same one for the email. All right. So let's go. Let's do email address. There we go. Perfect. All right. So now we're going to add the buttons. So let's do self, and then we're going to create this button submit. And this one is just a button, so we access the QPush button class, and we say submit here, right? Boom, and we'll do the same thing if we want to clear something out of that form, right? Let's do clear, and let's do a clear button attribute here. Remember, guys, to always put, comments on what you're doing here. It's very easy to get lost when you're writing so many lines, right? So right now, if we save this project, we save this code, and we run our application, we're not going to see anything because we haven't added anything to the layout. Now let me call this main layout. I'm gonna call this main layout because we have another layout there. Form layout, main layout. We can have multiple layouts, right? So like I said, we haven't added anything to the layout. So let's go ahead and use the main layout. In this case, it was the layout before, but now it's the main layout. And let's add you can see the different things that you can do in here. We are just the add layout method here, all right? And we're gonna be adding this main layout. Actually, hold on. We're gonna be adding, sorry about that. We're gonna be adding the form layout. There we go. All right, to the main layout. And then we're gonna add the widgets as well, right? So let's go ahead and do that. We're gonna get this guy main layout, and we're gonna add the widgets, right? And what are the widgets in this case? The buttons, right? BTN, submit, and then the BTN what? Clear. You got it. You guys are doing really good, all right? Just keep being consistent. You will achieve what you want, all right? Always remember that you just have to do one more step, a little step, step by step. Everything, you take it in steps, all right? Even if you can't finish a lecture that's 10 minutes, do 5 minutes. If you can't finish 10 lectures, finish 2. Something that you feel comfortable with, but make sure that you are progressing every single day. Just 1 or 2 or 3, but don't overwhelm yourself with a bunch of stuff, all right? I see a lot of people never achieve anything because they take it all at once, all right? You see, it's just like writing code. We do it one step at a time. Next thing you know, we got 1,000 lines, all right? Even though we're not gonna do 1,000 lines here. But anyway, so the most, once you have this code here complete, right? This is still not gonna show anything. Let me just go ahead and execute this. And we still don't see anything, right? Make sure that you grab the central widget that we got on top here, right here, the guy, this main container, main widget, and use it to set the layout. And we're gonna set the layout, and the main layout is the one that we need to take care of, right? So we do self main layout, okay? All right. And now the next thing here is use the self to set the central widget, okay? Let's go ahead and save it now, all right? And let's open up our terminal and let's execute this. And now you can see that we have some input fields here. We have this row that has this name, full name, and we have this row that has email address, and we have the input field, and of course, the buttons. All right? Super cool stuff. All right. So let's go. And one thing that we need to do, we need to set up events here, but we don't have any form function. We need to create a form first to process the data, and then we need to connect to it with some of the events, right? So let's go ahead and create this first, and then we'll hook it up. We'll wire this up with the events. But right now, let's go ahead and create the form submission, and let's create another form, another method here to also clear the form. So let me show you how this is done. Let's go ahead and create a function here called submit form. We're gonna pass in self like we always do, okay? Now we're gonna get the input. So we'll get the name input here. We'll get the text from it, and then we'll strip it from any spaces. Simple as that. Then we'll do the same thing for the email, okay? This is the name input. This is the email input. Very simple stuff, guys. Once you know this stuff, okay, you will create any application. As a matter of fact, I'm creating a POS system for not a friend, an acquaintance, and I'm charging them really good money for it. So this stuff here, you could charge really good money for it. So we're gonna check to see if the inputs here are empty or not. If they're not, then we'll do something. If they are, then we'll do something else. So if name and email are there, then we'll grab the status bar. which is right here, okay? Right in the bottom here. This is the status bar of a window of a GUI, of a graphical user interface, status bar. So we'll grab that, which is a function, and then we have another function called show message. That's what we're gonna use, all right? Just to show the message. We can do F string here. Let me make this a little bigger so you can see it. All right, so we could do submit it, and then let's show the data that we submitted. Let's show the name input value, okay? And then if not, then let's do an else here. Let's do else, and let's grab the same thing, and we show another message here saying, please fill all fields, just like that, okay? All right, so, you know, we need to create another function to clear some of this stuff here, but let's go ahead and wire this up so that way you guys don't get bored on me and start seeing some stuff. Guys, I want you to play around with this code, all right? Don't just watch me do it and then think, oh my God, I know it. No, you're not gonna know it unless you do it, okay? So don't give me that. I want you to do this stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and access the submit button, and let's connect it with the clicked object. And then we have this method called connect. Remember that, all right? These are the signals. So self, and then submit form, right? Because that's the name of the function here, right? So let's see what happens. Let's save this, and let's do Python app, and let's go ahead and let's write the name TPM here and submit. And now you can see it says, please fill all fields. That means that we didn't fill this up here. So Gmail, right? And then submit, and you can see submitted TPM, right? So it's working. Clear, it's not clearing out the form here, all right? It's not clearing that stuff out, but we're gonna work on that. And I might make this a little bigger so you guys can actually see what's going on. Hopefully this is not too small for you guys to see. Anyway, if it is, let me know, but I will probably make it bigger on the next lecture and show you how that's done. But don't worry, things are gonna really click here once you do this a couple times, all right? So let's go ahead and create another function called clear form. Let me show you how this one is done. Okay. At the same level, remember, we are inside the class on this time, okay? It's part of our application. The reason we created some other methods outside is because they didn't have to, this basically external stuff. All right, we're loading something external, and that's why we had to apply it right here before when we were doing loading style sheets, okay? Anyway, let's go here and grab the button. This is no, sorry about that. The name input we need to grab, and we need to clear this. That's it. That's all we need, just this method here. That will help us out. Let's go here, and this method is for the email, this line right here. And now what we need to do is we need to clear the message here, and that has a special method as well. So we grab the status bar right here, and instead of show message, what we need to do is what? Clear what? Message. Great job, guys. All right, let's see if this one actually, if everything works fine. So let's execute this, and we got this little box right here. We're gonna do TPM, then TPM at Gmail, and submit, and you can see that here. And now if we clear it, nothing happens because we forgot one thing, right? What do you think we forgot? I want you to think, guys, what did we forget to wire up? The signal for that specific function here. So let's go up. Guys, you need to pay attention. Even if I make a mistake, you need to call me up on that, all right? I know many of you failed on that completely. All right, so we wire up this to this clear. Let's go here. We call this clear. Let me see what we call this button. Button clear. All right. Right there. And then we wire this up with a clear form, right? Clear form. Perfect. All right, so let's do this one more time. Python app. We fill up anything and submit and then clear it. Now it works, right? Super, super cool stuff, guys. Anyway, we get in there, guys. All you have to do is learn the fundamentals of this amazing framework, Qt. In this case, PySci sits because this is the binding for Python. But once you learn this stuff, guys, believe me, you're going to be able to build any application, charge any amount of money you want, really, because there is a lot of people out there looking for applications to be created, and they don't have a clue what they're doing. They're just using a bunch of automated stuff that are not doing anything for them because they're not programmers like we are, right? Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure that if you're brand new, click the link in the description for the playlist. Remember, this is a playlist. And also like the video and subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next lecture.